Oh, Bills fans. Oh, Bills fans. What is up? I didn't have the energy to jump on right away after the game. I had to decompress after that one. That one was tough. That one was yeah, that was a tough one to sit through. I just wish I could get the 4+ hours of my life back that I spent watching that game. I mean, was it as bad as weeks 1 and 2? I mean, it's just the one we watched, so it's in itself bad. What positives can I take out of that fucking game? Can we take out of that game? Defensively, they got it together in the second half. They didn't get if you don't score any offensive points, it's a blowout. But defensively, they seem to get it together. But offensively, Mike, where do I start? Early in the game, it seemed like Allen was he was off, scatter shot. Then he had no time, and then when he had time, nobody was open. And I mean, they showed some angles, and these receivers get zero separation. Zero. And when he does put the ball on him, they fucking drop it. The biggest play of the game was the pass to Benjamin. Even then, I don't know what kind of conditioning this guy has because he has to get pulled off the field right after that play. Bills take a timeout. He comes back on. I think Allen throws the pick right after that, which was a dumb rookie play. He can't play hero ball there. He just has to eat that play, throw the ball out of bounds, live to play another down. It was a 6-point flip. Corey, stop with Nate. Please stop with Nate Peterman. Stop with Nate Peterman. I'm not in the mood to hear about Nate Peterman. Okay? Because Nate Peterman's a 5th-round fucking pick that is nothing. Okay? He's nothing. In this league, he is nothing. We've seen what he is. Let's put him to bed. Let's not talk about him because he's not going anywhere. Because I don't want to talk about him. This is the guy. He had no kind of help whatsoever. And it was disgusting to watch. And these are professionals, and they have to have more pride in themselves. I mean, this is what I'm thankful for today. After this season, we probably won't. I don't want to see Charles Clay in a Bills uniform. He's useless. He's useless. The other receivers, Zay Jones, I don't know what the fuck he is. What is Zay Jones? I have no clue. Fuck this. They could cut every one of those receivers. They can cut every one of them and bring in 5 guys off the street and get better production than they got today. They can cut 5, all 5, and get better production than what they got today. Benjamin is garbage. Looks like they wasted a 3rd-round pick getting him because he's garbage. The only reason I think they traded for him was, size 1, 2. They had another controllable year on him, and he's absolutely he looks so disinterested in playing football. It's not even funny. Fucking Zay Jones, I don't know what he is. That's the guy Allen was going to in the back of the end zone when he threw the pick. The other interception was a fucking joke because I'm going to advocate for Benjamin. How is that not a defenseless receiver or targeting? How is that not? Benjamin has his head turned, going back to catch the ball, and Dix lines him up and bang. How is that not? How is that not a fucking call there? It's terrible. He's fucking knocked out. You're right, Eric. He lined him up. His head was turned. It's a defenseless receiver. We don't know what he is after Jim Kelly, dude. Please. Francisco, it's like 3 games. Let's turn the volume down on busts, please. That's way premature. Nothing worked on offense today, and everything looked ugly. The defense came to play. I mean, Ryan Lewis had some ups and downs, but shit, he almost had wow, if he holds on to that pick 6, this guy, they didn't take advantage of the interception at all. They went 3 and out right after that. Nothing on the offensive play calling was weird. These guys were running routes 10-plus yards down the field. Nothing was developing. Pettin just unleashed the dogs on him. How many free runners did we see at Josh Allen today? How many free runners? How many times did we see a free runner on Josh Allen? Like he was like, he had no chance to not get sacked. He was going to get sacked. The only thing that kept him upright in some cases was his size. It was a joke offensively. And the game plan was shit. They can burn that. The one QB sneak that they did, it was like they spread them out. They QB sneaked. It was god-awful. The refs were fucking atrocious today. The Allen fumble, his knees were clearly down. His knees were clearly down. It just, nothing worked today. It was just that bad. The defense really did all they could today. Even with Hyde going down, I thought it was going to get really ugly. They seem to try to stick together as best they can. Even on the Green Bay touchdown, the one Green Bay touchdown, I thought it was a pick. It was a clear pick. I forget who. I think it was on. I think it might have been on Hyde actually, or one of the other safeties. No, it was on Raphael Bush. I thought he got picked by Geronimo Allison really hard, and it wasn't called. This guy catches, Jimmy Graham catches the touchdown. Walk-in touchdown. The offensive line is just, it's abysmal, and they've got to get it figured out. I mean, I don't understand why this team is carrying 10 offensive linemen when they don't even have 2 that can block decently. The only 2 guys worth their salt, honestly, and I hate to say this, is Ducasse, and he's not that good, and Dawkins. Everybody else is straight garbage. John Miller is terrible. The center position, they had a 2-headed monster center fight. It's 2-headed duds. Jordan Mills, Kari Lee got flagged. Why was he even on the field? Why is he even active? He does nothing for them. He does nothing for them. I want to see as much of Jason Kroom as I can. I want to see as much of these other receivers like Robert Foster. Why is he on the roster? Because he went to Alabama and he was under this guy. I don't want to hear that. The guy does nothing for you. He does nothing. He runs downfield and tries to catch a deep ball. He's garbage. So it was such a mind-numbing game to watch, and I'm just so irritated because at least maybe we could have saw some good things out of the rookie, but he looked off early. I'm not going to absolve him of that. That's 1. 2, nobody helped him out. Nobody helped him out. Nobody helped him. Yeah, it was terrible. I don't understand why you're criticizing Starr, dude. That you're saying the defense did good. They gave up 22 points, and 6 of those points were off turnovers. So I don't understand. Like you go off on these tangents about certain guys. This team needs offense now. They need to focus on that. They've neglected it for 2 years. And I'll say this: you want to advocate Tyrod? I don't want to talk about the past. This team has had 4 100-yard receivers in the last 2 years and 4 games. 4. So this is just not a now problem. This problem's been coming, okay? Tyrod couldn't get it done. You see what Robert Woods does somewhere else. I would give my soul to have that guy back in a Bills uniform. Robert fucking Woods. I just think he's hurt, dude. I just think he's 30 and he's got hurt ribs. You know, what are you going to do? Nobody could block on the offensive line today. I thought they should have handed the ball off to Ivory a little bit more. But I don't know. Everything looked fucked up today. The play calling looked fucked up. The receivers looked fucked up. The offensive line was complete shit. It was just a mess. It was just a mess. And Allen's, thankfully, he's a big enough guy to take the hits that he's taken. And he owned it after the game. He stood up. He said, "This is on me." At least Lawson got a sack, dude. Lawson has a few sacks. Maben had 0 sacks, and he was a top 10 pick. Yeah, John Miller's awful. He's awful. There's another thing I'm grateful for. Won't have to see him in a Bills uniform next year. Won't have to see Benjamin in a Bills uniform. Hopefully Charles Clay we won't have to see in a Bills uniform. It's just atrocious to watch some of these guys. I would give anything. If they don't sign 2 receivers this week, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. I'm serious. They need to at least sign. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Rashard Perriman. Bring back Corey Coleman. I do not care. I don't care. I'm not going to talk about Aaron Maben, Corey, please. Stop with this. Stop with this. You find these little things to start harping on. Aaron Maben's not the reason why the Bills won or lost. I don't know. I just know I don't care how bad his workout is. I know what I see every week. I know what we watch every week, and these receivers are not good. Okay, these receivers suck. These receivers all suck, and they do nobody any favors, not even themselves. They're wasting everybody's time, and in their own time, it seems like they need to go find another profession because they're not good at football. Every week I sit here and I watch other teams seem to find receivers wide open, make contested catches. And McDermott talked about it after the game. They asked him about what he felt, and he talked about, and I know he was talking about the receivers and the offensive line winning one-on-ones. Winning one-on-ones. Nope, no one-on-ones. They didn't win shit. No, they didn't win no one-on-ones today. Those receivers, think of this. The Packers have been a shit defense all year. They're like 22nd ranked defense. I'm not saying the Bills are great, and they had 2 starting cornerbacks out, and a guy they just signed off the street was inactive, Breland, and the Bills just could do shit. Could this do anything? What are you talking about? All this shit I saw in March coming. We are in lockstep. I don't understand what you're talking about. Rod. I mean, he's in Cleveland now. He doesn't even play for Cleveland. Rod Streeter is inactive for Cleveland probably half the time. They could sign anybody. They could bring Terrell fucking Owens out of retirement for all I care. They could do that. They can give him to the key to the city again. Because the Bills did that. They beat the Vikings, dude. That's what they did. I'm not going to take it away from them. They went in there and they won that game, but they went in and lost this game today. And the rookie had a hard day, and he didn't have any help. What are you going to – I mean, there's no other way to slice it. It was a shit show from the word go. The first offensive possession, when they didn't get that first down, they had that one running play, and then they ran it again and didn't get it. They didn't choose to lose Wood in an incognito, dude. Those guys, one guy was hurt, and the other guys went nuts. What are you going to do? They didn't say any lockstep. They didn't have any money. They didn't have any money. Who were they going to go out and sign like that was of substance? They tried to sign guys. They tried to sign John Brown. They tried to bring in this other receiver they had in. He didn't sign with them. They tried. They're going to go where they can make numbers. Look at Jeremy Mack last year. Granted, he didn't go to the Ravens and do much, but he went with a more established quarterback that he can make numbers with. Clay is a guy they paid $9 million to. Does nothing. Nothing. That's on him. That's on him. They could have drafted. It was a horrible wide receiver draft and a bad O-line draft. Name me the stud lineman that wasn't named Quentin Nelson. Name me him. Give me the guy. And then I'll tell you the picks they traded up to use to get Allen and fucking Edmonds. You got to compromise, man. There's a balance there. They did. There's another receiver they tried to sign, but he went elsewhere. Yeah, Los, you're right. They could find a guy. They're bad, but it's sad when you pay a guy $9 million and he's straight garbage. That, like Los said, you can literally find a practice squad guy, and they could give you the same impact, the same production. I said it. 10 wide receivers off the street right now. You could find 2-3 offensive linemen, and it couldn't be any worse. They couldn't be any worse. You take all 4 games, they couldn't be any worse. Is it that they're just disinterested? They don't care. They're not talented enough. I think it's a lack of talent. I think the quarterback is young, and he's going to make his mistakes and have his growing pains. They're all new in the system. So I think it's a big conglomerate there. But at the end of the day, some of these guys, they're not worth having on the team. And I'm talking about going forward. I'm not even talking about this year, because it would behoove them to try to truly win, because they're not going to win anything this year. At best, they're 6-10, 7-9, and that'll piss me off slightly. That'll piss me off, because that'll keep them from getting an impact player. I watch AJ fucking Green make impact plays, and I would sell my soul for a receiver like that. I would sell my soul for a receiver like that. What weapons does Rosen have? He has a 35-year-old Larry Fitzgerald. What weapons? I don't see the weapons. You're going off on these tangents, dude. You find these little things, and what they're 0-4. They're 0-4. They're 0-4 like the Bills. No, the Bills actually are 1-3. The Browns are 1-3-1. The Jets, what are they? They're 1-3. Oh, what do they all have in common? Rookie quarterbacks. The Jets have more offensive talent than the Bills. Quincy Enunwa was a stud. I love watching that guy play. David Johnson's got more upside than any Bills running back. Yeah, they're still losers, dude. So what are you saying? What's the rationale there? What's the point of bringing up every other team with a rookie quarterback? Baker Mayfield scored 42 points today, but you know what? That vaunted Greg Williams defense, you can bring him up from the past too, with guys like Garrett and all the money they spent on defense, Collins, who they traded a second-round pick for, and all these other guys. They got shit on today for 45 points. And they got 20 straight scored on them. But Baker made rookie mistakes. He fumbled the ball twice away. He threw 2 interceptions. He's got Jarvis Landry, stud receiver. They paid a lot of money to. Stud receiver. Antonio Callaway pulled up lame. He's a fast guy. And Njoku's a physical freak. Well, I can name you guys that these other dudes are playing with that Allen's not playing with. And you know what? The results are still the same. So you can advocate and name drop, and I'll just to give you the results. The results are 1-3, 1-3, 1-2-1, and 0-4. That's the results. Raiders have weapons, but they have a fucking psychopath, egomaniac as a head coach. Browns have a loser head coach, a loser. 2-33-1. The Jets have a guy who's on the hot seat that's probably going to get shit canned after this year. Okay. In Todd Bowles, and the Arizona Cardinals have a rookie head coach. McDermott's in the early part of his second year. Why are you talking about these dudes, dude? Why are you bringing up trades? You do this every time you come in. You talk about trades from 09. You talk about this from this year. You talk about that from that year. None of that matters now. None of that matters. They weren't the same people doing it. Greg, these guys are gone. Russ Brandon's gone. Whaley, all these guys are gone. Stop bringing them up. Makes no sense. Oh, God. I would love that. If you want to do this every time you come in, dude, you can, but it makes no sense because talking about Marshawn Lynch as a Bill, he hasn't been a Bill for 9 years. I don't understand the point of that. He did not want to be in Buffalo. He did not want to be there. Do you want guys that don't want to be on the team? Do you want guys who don't want to be on the team? When a guy tells you, I don't want to be here, do you want to hold him hostage? No. They want guys who want to be there. That we like, right? How about when a guy openly says, I didn't know Buffalo was in where it was. I thought it was in New York City somewhere. This guy went to college. Yeah, I mean, you can't let one game. Yeah, you can't dwell in the past. It just you live in the past, you die in the past. I can go through the annals too. I've been through it all. I can talk about the Bills letting go this guy, that guy. Every guy looks great when he's in another uniform. But I remember the shit. There was a lot of shit too. They weren't winning games. They were perpetually 7-9, 6-10 because they didn't have a quarterback. Maybe they have a quarterback. We don't know, but we're in the process of figuring that out. Just like Eric says, you got to take the lumps and see what happens, and just go from there. That's it. 9-7 felt good last year. They're 1-3 right now. Let's see. There's a big chunk of the season left. 12 games. Let's see what they do week to week. If you want to live in that world, dude, you're going to be miserable. Same old Bills, this and that. Nobody's going to trade for him, dude. Nobody's going to trade Shady for a receiver. He's a $9 million, 30-year-old running back. Nobody's trading for him. Maybe you get at most a 4th or 5th round pick for him. At most. I saw the Eagles were interested in. Do I think they will? I think they would. If they got a 4th or 5th round pick, I think they'd trade him. Yeah, how is that helping Josh Allen? The guys that do get their hands on balls drop balls, and when the kid has time, nobody gets open, or when he drops back, he's got people in his face. Okay, we knew the offense was going to be in a rough go of it, but at least have some pride. At least have some balls. Go out there and play with some passion. I'd rather see them lose and play with balls instead of just go out there and just get run like that. The defense, okay, I'll give them credit. They went out there and they stepped up. They stopped the bleeding. They played with some balls. They forced some turnovers. They made some adjustments. They made Rodgers look somewhat human sometimes. They threw him off a little bit. He wasn't quite the same quarterback he was in the first half. And they stopped the bleeding. They stopped the bleeding. So I can give them that. But that offense, I mean, my God. I mean, when they get that team in that meeting room on Monday, they need to rip them a new asshole. How does this team go in and lift on Monday or go into the facility with any kind of fucking pride? You saw Micah Hyde on the field, on the sideline, pissed off. God bless him. He wants to be back in Lambeau. He wants to make an impact, and he has to sit there and watch that shit. He had to sit on the sideline and watch that. Ryan Lewis, bless him, an undrafted free agent. He was out there playing as hard as he could. He got burned on some plays, but he made some others. And shit, if he would have held on to that pick six, that would have been good. But they tried their best. You know, okay, here's a silver lining. So I'm fucking tongue tied right now. Teron Johnson played very, very well. Nickel is a starting position in the league, and he played really, really well. Rafael Bush came in. He settled things. He took over for Hyde admirably. I didn't notice him out there. I didn't see him getting picked on. He played decently. So I mean, it was just a touch. You can't really. I can't get mad at the defense. They forced turnovers. Saron Neal got a beautiful sack, another rookie on Aaron Rodgers. I believe Teron Johnson forced the fumble. Dude, I don't want to hear about that. This week won't be any easier. Titans have momentum after beating the Jack. Again, it's a week-to-week league. Week-to-week league. We'll see what happens next week. I'll worry about next week when we watch the games and they start playing down in and down out. I'm not going to sit here and try to project because that's not smart to do. We all end up looking like idiots at the end of that. I just want to see them at least show a pulse. Win, lose, or draw. Just show a pulse offensively. I'm tired of this team being so abject on offense where they make everything look hard. And I know they're up against it talent-wise, but it's just so irritating to watch. It just seems like they don't have a professional receiver on the roster. John Brown catching another long pass right here in front of my face. Beautiful dime from Flacco. There's another frustrating thing. Yeah, Zay Jones just he looks like a guy who just is not a good receiver. And I don't know how good I just hate making the mistake of that. And he's a young player. I don't want to indict him too quick. It's just a hard thing to put young guys fat to the fire when they've been in two different offensive systems. They have so many, because that's the Bills' case all the time. The quarterback changes, the coordinator changes. There's not enough talent. They don't have enough money to go out and get talent because Whaley's doing this and was doing that, and they had to bite all this money now, and that sucks. We see 55. We see what we're watching right now is a team that has $55 million sitting somewhere they can't put on the field. That's what we're watching. We're watching a team that is up against it that talent-wise, and they're not even paying the quarterback. Which sucks. They haven't even had a top 5 pick in those times. They haven't even had a chance to do that. No, I mean, and that was another thing I wanted to say about well, it was a 5th, Corey. They got a 5th because the Jaguars made the playoffs. It turned into a 5th. It was going to be a 6th, but it turned into a 5th because they made the playoffs. The fact that Allen stood up there and took it like a man. He took it like a man and said, "This is on me. You only go as far as a quarterback." That's all I needed to hear from him. He could have stepped up, said that, and walked out, and I'm fucking happy. I'm happy as hell. And notice the reporters were up in the press box. They watched the game. They saw the receivers were getting separation. They saw the receivers were getting no separation. They saw the offensive line was not doing a fucking thing to help him out. Because that's the questions they asked McDermott. Like, you had some growing pains. You did this, you did that, but he got no support out there from none of those guys. And why don't any of those guys have to sit and talk to the media? Because they're not the quarterback. He went up there, he owned it, and that's an encouraging thing to see. Because I remember Trent Edwards never wanted to do that. Fitz would do it. Tyrod was kind of iffy about it. He would say, he was kind of like an it's on everybody type of guy. He was not too big. No, Nix is like 80 years old and just no. What are we talking about Nix for? Why are we bringing up Buddy Nix? I think the 5th round pick they got was Teron Johnson, dude. He made some plays today, so I'm not going to. He made some plays. Knicks would be like when they wanted Polian to. I don't know why we're talking about Buddy Knicks. I don't see why. William, he's going to turn the ball over, man. Rookies turn the ball over. I mean, Baker Mayfield looked like hot stuff. He turned the ball over 4 times today. He had 2 fumbles. You know, he scored 4 points, but a lot of points, but he turned over the ball 4 times. You know, he was trying to make plays. He threw an inexcusable interception where he could have just got the team in field goal position. I think at the end of near the end of overtime, he I don't know if it was regulation. I think it was regulation. Sorry, regulation. And he had 2 botched snaps because he's not used to being under center because everything at Oklahoma was in shotgun mostly. I think he was only under center like crazy like 3 times his whole college career. That's nuts. Think of that. That's nuts. 3 times you're under center your whole college career. It happens, man. He threw a pick 6 early in the game. He's a rookie quarterback. Allen's a rookie quarterback. Again, I cited all the examples of teams with rookie quarterbacks where it was Darnold. You know, Darnold's having a rough go of it, trying to get his footing. Rosen, you know, they dropped 17 points, but he still had a rough go of it today. You know, and you learn. I remember. I mean, I try to go back and learn. I remember, I not learn, but I remember watching rookies that turned out to be good, and you saw dumb mistakes. You know, Big Ben in his 2nd year was terrible. His 3rd year, he wasn't that good either. Then his 4th year, he finally, you know, regained it again. I think he threw like 20-some picks. There was a few rough years for Rivers there where he still throws the occasional dumb interception. But they've got to – the Bills have to start – this is where I'm going to hold the Bills' fat to the fire. Not so much now because they did what they had to do to get the quarterback. They've got their centerpiece on defense, whatever. Things that defense need to settle down. They need to throw their hat in to the offense this offseason, whether it's the free agency money. No, both the free agency money and the draft need to go to offense. They got 10 draft picks so far this year. I want 7 on offense. They're going to have over $100 million in cap. I want fucking $75 million allocated to the offense. Okay? You guys agree with that? 75 million of that allocated to the offense, and I want fucking 7 of those draft picks on offense. They need to go all in on offense this offseason. I don't care. Yeah, do what they did on defense this year, but I mean, 75 million is a hell of a lot more than they had this past offseason. What wrong are going to be available? I don't know what wrong. I mean, you don't know who's going to be available and who's not. They traded Darby for a 3rd round pick. They ended up trading up to get Edmonds for Corey. You're stop with the revisionist history. Darby got beat for the touchdown today on Corey Davis. Okay, how about that? Everybody overpays. Everybody overpays. Seattle, right? Super Bowl winning team, been to 2 Super Bowls. They're having a rough go of it. You saw one of their studs, Legion of Boom. Everybody wants to get paid, Corey. That's the league now. Look at the Steelers. Don't just throw it on the Bills. They have one of their stud players sitting out. He's not playing. He's not playing. You know why? Because Earl Thomas got his leg fucked up today. He's out for the year, but we saw what he did when he got carted off the field this game, right? To his own sideline, to the management for not paying him. Okay? Everybody wants to get paid. Do you want to go out there and put your body on the line, your health, and not get paid? Everybody wants to get paid. That's the league. The TV money goes up every year. The revenue goes up every year. The cap goes up. You're gonna have to pay guys. That's the way it works. You're gonna play football for free where you have to get hit every fucking game and work out and live. I mean, that's the part. You're a paid athlete. Yeah, you pay for talent. You don't want to pay for talent, you get Robert Foster. They're not going to pay him. He's fucking hurt. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Yeah, Mac, I mean, these guys want to get paid. So I don't want to hear about it's a Buffalo thing or this. No, Green Bay gets guys to go. Green Bay gets guys to go to Green Bay. You know what's in Green Bay? A hell of a lot less than Buffalo. Pittsburgh is not much bigger than Buffalo. You got to pay people, period. But you got to pay the right people. You can't go paying Marcel Darius, who could care less about football, or Mario Williams, who could care less about football. Guys we knew did not care about football, did not like football. Green Bay has the guy they have for 25 years. Yeah, you need a quarterback. The Bills might have a quarterback. Who knows? We'll see. But you still have to pay people. And a quarterback is an attractive magnet for receivers. Yes, it is. I will agree to that 100%. It would be nice to have a stud quarterback to bring talent to. That would attract talent. I would love that. The Bills used to have it with Kelly. Bryce Pop came to Buffalo. Receivers wanted to come to Buffalo when free agency started. We forget free agency started in '92. I remember watching football without free agency for like 3 or 4 years. It was called Plan B free agency. You had to cut a guy and go through this process, and it wasn't like it is now. You know? So it's frustrating to watch, guys. Days like today are frustrating. The only silver lining I could take is the defense kind of turned it around. Again, some of the young guys played okay on defense. The offense, again, why am I going to say it? They were just a total tire fire from stop to start. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, even if they sign a backup, it's not gonna matter. I mean, if they're gonna lose the game, they're gonna lose the game. I'm not worried about a backup. They need to not worry about injuries, and they need to worry about getting some receivers in here that have a pulse, and an offensive lineman that have a pulse. They need to stop with this 10 offensive lineman bullshit and be like, you know what? We're gonna keep the best 8 to 9 guys. Cut 1 or 2 of these losers, get them on the street, get them out of here, and boom. That's it. Did I talk about it? I mean, I talked the first one. I mean, it was a dumb rookie play. He was trying to play hero ball. He should have put the ball in his pocket, thrown it out of bounds. He threw it. It was a dumb interception. It was a 6-point swing right there because Green Bay went down and put 6 on the board. But the second interception, that was targeting from hell. I can't believe that a flag wasn't thrown on that play because that was just a ridiculous. This league and its rules. This league and its fucking rules. You had a guy who had to go into the tent and get his head looked at, then go back and get it, probably do some other tests, and there was no flag. I just don't get that. Then I watch a hit in the Raiders game where I believe it was Rogers Cromartie caught Njoku clean with his shoulder, put his shoulder right into him, and it made a loud sound. The ref threw the flag. They stop and they get together, start talking, and they pick up the flag and they said no targeting or no defenseless receiver. I just don't get this league. I don't get this league. They never want to admit when they're fucking wrong. They never want to own it. Allen was down. They the ball was out while he was on the ground. His knees were on the ground, and they kept it. They kept the fucking. They didn't overturn the call. It was ridiculous. So the refs were trash today. The loss is not on them, but Jesus Christ, what trash! Any chance I'm going to get to criticize the refs, I'm going to take, because this league is a joke. I don't know about any. I don't think there was one roughing the passer penalty called today, because early in the week they said that they were going to keep the rule the same, but privately they told them to throw less flags on the quarterbacks getting hit. So I mean, I was scared to death they were going to throw one on Tremaine Edmonds when he came in untouched up the middle and cleaned up Rodgers, but they didn't throw one. And then I don't know which guy was talking about it. Oh, you got to land with 50% of your body weight on the. Are we talking? What is this coming to? You're going to sit there and try to like quantify how much body weight a defender uses on a court. I mean, and this game is being played in real time by when you're up on the line, and the guys who are sacking the quarterback are in excess of 250 plus pounds on any given play. On the defensive line, they're 300. Are they fucking nuts? They're fucking nuts. You know, it was a clean hit. It was a joke. You know, but I'll give the defense credit. They held it together. They tried their best, and just the offense again. I mean, I'll say it again. It was just so bad, and watching that was just mind-numbing. And I was like you guys. I'm sitting there trying to watch it for a glimmer of hope. I'm just basically watching for Allen. I'm like, somebody make a play for this kid, give this kid time, and it was just like they just didn't show up. They stayed in the locker room. I don't know who the hell was in uniform for the Bills. I don't know if they were even professionals. It may have as well been replacement players from 1986. Not even the Redskins players, more like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers replacement players, the scabs from those years. So it was just terrible. It was just terrible to watch, and we were all frustrated watching that shit. I don't know. There was one play that they ran down a guy and they didn't clean him up, and it really pissed me off. It was one on defense. The one running back, Jones, was getting way too many yards for my fucking taste. He was getting way too many yards, and I don't know who he was blowing up. It's just frustrating, because 22 points in the modern NFL and your offense turns over the ball 3 times, believe it or not, is not a lot of points. But when your offense is so anemic and just stale, it's just, oh my God, it was very Trent Edwards-esque today. It was bad. Yeah, Los players are shit. It is just terrible. Yeah, yeah, you're right, dude. T21, because they're not gonna reverse themselves. They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. They were in the his knees were down. That's conclusive evidence. Those guys in the 50s, that's why I say, when you look at quarterback stats from back in the day and you try to laugh at those stats and you see all the interceptions and shit that they threw, don't laugh at them, because that's when guys can get killed. There was no protection in the pocket. You can hit a quarterback in the head. You can hit him at the knees. You could hit him. You could pick him. Go look at. I'm going to put a link in the room. And you're going to see what used to happen to quarterbacks. Remember, CBS used to run a highlight on before the game. They used to do a pregame, and they used to, do the run up to the game, and they would show highlights of stuff. And then they showed a highlight from that 1989 AFC divisional game, Don Beebe getting flipped over and landing right on his head and the ball coming loose. Remember they show that? Now they don't show that because of all these CET and all the brain injuries. They They're like, no, 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 no. Remember the shit ESPN used to do, jacked up and stuff like that? No, 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 no. Again, Corey, don't compare players from the 50s till now. Quarterbacks used to just hand the ball off, and then throw the ball deep. There was no spreading teams out. There was no intermediate to short passing game, West Coast offense, creating mismatches. There was none of that. Don't do that. Because that's not the league anymore. Could Night Train? I never saw him play. I'm not going to tell you what kind of player he is. I know damn well you never saw him play a full NFL game, so we can't attest to what kind of player he is. We can look at stats. That's all we can do. I remember this being showed one time. I'm gonna put it in the room. This is what used to happen to fucking quarterbacks. This guy, I believe, I don't know what happened to him, but this is what during they had a pretty winning season this year, but you're gonna see. Hopefully, with any luck, they show the replay because this is from 1986. Here we go. I'm gonna put it in the room. Watch that. Go up to start it at 55 seconds. Well, trust me, the XFL is not going to be able to do some of the things. They're not going to be able to hit guys and stuff. And again, they're not going to compete with the NFL. The Alliance, the American Alliance of Football, is not going to compete with the NFL. The XFL is not going to compete. Hopefully, if they're smart, they try to feed the NFL. They try to develop talent and send it to the NFL, and they work out some sort of agreement that they can develop good head coaches or, you know, occasionally a good quarterback or two. Because if you remember, NFL Europe used to do that. I can name countless quarterbacks that played in NFL Europe that won Super Bowls. Brad Johnson, Kurt Warner was everywhere. Arena Football League, World Football League, NFL Europe, John Kitna, Jake Delhomme. There's a good list, and sometimes guys bloom late. I don't know if he was amped up or nervous. It was a bad game for everybody, man. It was just a bad game for everybody. It was just terrible. Well, with the USFL, it was around for 3 seasons. And I try to remind people, Jim Kelly was going to be the quarterback for the New Jersey Generals in 1986. And you know who owned the New Jersey Generals? Donald Trump. Donald Trump owned the New Jersey Generals, but the league disbanded, and then he went and signed his contract with the Bills because they owned his rights. But even a quarterback like Warren Moon didn't play in the NFL till he was 28 years old. Warren Moon was a 28-year-old rookie who played like 6-7 years in the Canadian Football League. So, yeah, Eric, his name escaped me more, dude. Daboll. His play, I question the play calling today. It's hard to say it was good or bad because the offensive line play was so shit. But it just was, you know, it was just shit, man. Everything on offense was a complete turd. And I can rehash everything, but we know everything. The refs were shit today. The defense rebounded in the second half. Some young players looked like they played okay. Ryan Lewis had an up and down game, but he tried his best. I'll give him credit. Losing Hyde hurt. The offensive line and the wide receiving core. And McDermott, this is what McDermott said in the press conference, winning one-on-ones. Who has to win in one-on-ones? Wide receivers and offensive linemen. Defensive people have to also, but he also said the defense made some adjustments and played well in the second half. But that offensive line, the wide receiving core, took a shit on Lambeau Field today. A bad one. It was like the title is, it's just a flop. They didn't do the Lambeau leap. They did the Lambeau flop. They would have had more production if they just would have fucking knelt the ball every play and punted. It was that bad. I mean, the one series of the game that just totally encapsulated the whole game. I believe they've got the Tremont forced fumble, sack fumble. Allen gets sacked twice, and then he has to throw an incomplete pass because it's like 3rd and 28, and he has to force the ball downfield. Because there's hardly anybody on the street, Corey. There's nobody on the street. Who you signing in week 4 of the NFL? Because that's when you sign your best players. You know, that it is what it is. But do they need to bring in bodies? Yes, they do. Even just for show, I'll take it. Actually, they need to sign a fucking receiver. They need to sign a receiver. I don't care who it is. Perriman, Coleman, like I alluded to earlier. Me, you, Francisco Barrios, Braxton Barrios, are you his brother? Anybody, for Christ's love. There's got to be a guy on a practice squad somewhere, anywhere, that could give them a semblance of a pulse. It's hard to say because you never know who's going to get cut. You never know who's, you know what I mean? You never know who's going to get released. Like a guy like Jordy Nelson becomes available late, signs with the Raiders. You know, you just never know. No, they can't be worse. I said it, you know. I'll say it's all blue in the face. You could sign 5 guys off the street. And would it have been any worse? I don't know. I don't think so. It'd be hard. It'd be hard to be worse than what they were today. The same with the offensive line. It'd be hard to be worse than, I mean, but you know what? Let's not say that because they're the Bills. They could fucking prove us wrong and be worse. That's how shitty it was. Oh God. It's just so shitty to watch that because week 1 it was 3 points. Week 2 they scored some, you know, what they score at the end was 13, 16 points against San Diego after the LA Chargers after they already had the game in hand. And then last week they scored 27. No, okay. And then, yeah, he's a free agent. Perriman's a free agent, Eric. And this week, 0, a donut. They cannot stand on ceremony. Yeah, 31-20 LA. But still, it didn't seem like 20 points. I would have, if you would have told me 10, I would have believed you right now. It was that shitty. 10. They just have to do something to make it somewhat requisite and respectable because the guys that they're putting on the field, they're just not giving this team anything right now. They're not putting themselves in any kind of position to win. They're not putting these guys on the field and watching them continuously fail, to me, is irresponsible. Guys on the offensive line, it's irresponsible. You're not doing your rookie quarterback you're doing him a disservice. You're just wasting time with these losers like John Miller. Sign another guard. Just get another guard. Get rid of him. Guard is a guard. The kid is more interested in regurgitating rap lyrics on his Snapchat. That's what he seems like he has a fun time doing with himself. The other guys, I don't know. Maybe Kelvin Benjamin can write another fucking a post in the whatever that paper is that Derek Jeter owns, and bitch about his time in Carolina, because ever since the game that he played against Carolina, he stopped playing. Like he threw in a towel. He had a decent game that game, and that was it. He was just like, okay, I'm done playing football now. So, yeah, it's on them. Is that the third time we're shut out in the first quarter out of 4 games? They don't score enough. They don't score enough early. He did. He dropped 2 TD passes. I want to say Clay dropped 1 in Minnesota. So this kid has no help. kid should have 4 or 5 touchdown passes, and he's got 2 because your 2 so-called #1 players can't hold on to the ball. Like, it is watching Charles Clay is terrible. It's terrible because I see a guy like Greg Kittle for 49ers, just that guy Dizzy, who unfortunately tore his patella tendon, which is a horrible injury for an athlete, for anybody, but for an athlete is almost like a kiss of death. Victor Cruz's knee injury, and his career was done after he did that. Patella's terrible. I don't know. Suppose maybe the offensive coordinator advocated for him, Daboll, but I'm sorry. You got to get to the point where you got to get Foster. Foster is just nothing, and he's active for these games, man. He's active for these games. You're playing with 45 guys because the guy does nothing. He does nothing. I saw fucking Hyde was pissed. Hyde was pissed. But always yelling and screaming's not going to do anything. I know McDermott lost his hat a few times. He was pissed about something the refs did. But there's only so much yelling and screaming you can do on the sidelines. Then you turn into Mike Ditka, and you lose a team like that. You could turn into Mike Singletary. That doesn't work either. You know, you go out, you yell at the team, you pull your pants down, you make an ass out of yourself, you send guys to the locker room. That stuff can get overblown. You know what I mean? Sometimes that stuff is easy to point at, but when there's nothing good to cheer for or get mad at, it's just hard. I mean, you're in awe of how horrible they look, and you wonder what's going on. Like this game plan, whatever it was, they need to fucking burn it. They need to take every play in the game plan and say, we're never gonna run any of these fucking plays again. Okay, all these plays are gone. They're shit. They're garbage. Hopefully, David, I hope so. I mean, it's unlikely, but just be respectable. All I ask is be respectable. Don't get clowned like that. Shut out in this league. In this league where it's just so easy. And that's what shocks me is these receivers can do nothing. These receivers in a league where you get illegal contact, pass interference, all the whole defensive holding, they can't even draw penalties. They can't even draw penalties. It's unbelievable. Yeah, David, that's what we have to do. And that's just the way it is. Give me 1 quick second, guys. I'll be right. I'm going to step out for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. But they just, I don't understand. It's like they're not even good enough to draw penalties. It's like the ref knows, oh, these guys suck. They're not getting no flags. I don't know if they'll have the #1 overall. We'll have a #1 pick. I don't think it's going to be the #1 overall. Not what I see from Arizona. Who else is another team hasn't won a game? I'm not sure who it is. Oh, look at that catch by Antonio Brown. This is what it just sucks. He tried, man. He tried to get. We talked about it, Chris. He tried to get John Brown, and it was another receiver or 2 he tried to get, but they didn't sign with the Bills because they get 1 year. They get 1 year. They get 1 year deals, and what do they need to do in those deals? They need to get numbers. They need to get stats. And at the time, nobody knows who the Bills quarterback's going to be. You have Nathan Peterman on your roster, trade Tyrod Taylor, so it's kind of like, who's the quarterback? They're not coming for Nathan Peterman. We know that. So, I mean, irregardless, they need to draft. We talked about it earlier. They need to draft with those 10 draft picks. They need to draft at least seven offensive players, and then $75 million of that needs to go to the offense. Okay, and stop paying running back. Like Shady's been a warrior for the Bills. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably his last year with the Bills because if they cut him, it's only $2 million in dead money, and they save I think $7 million. So this is probably his last year with the team. I mean, draft a rookie running back in the 3rd round, like a Kareem Hunt or a Connor, somebody like that. Stop trying to build a team. Yeah, Corey. He's just they backed off and then he started catching balls. The guy didn't win shit. He didn't win any one-on-ones. I mean, I know it's early and I don't want to throw the young guys under the bus, but your seasoned pros, like fucking John Miller started in this league before. He's been in the league. This is his what? This is his 4th year in the league. Kelvin Benjamin, this is his fucking 5th, 6th year in the league. Sorry, it's his 5th. Charles Clay, this is like his 8th or 9th year. Those guys, they need to do something. Something. They don't do a damn thing. A thing. They could cut Foster now, bring back Curley, and they could cut somebody. They could bring back they could sign Perriman and cut one of the offensive linemen. There's 6 receivers right there. Yeah, he had one, and he hurt his knee in that game. He got his knee hurt in that game. Dude, everybody's hurt. You know, Chris Beckham, everybody. There's injuries all over the league, man. We were talking about Earl Thomas, and you know, Corey brought up the point about, you know, you got to pay players. No, they've done that already. They burned it down. That happened last year. You know how many people they fired over there? People you don't even know work there, bro. Trust me. They cleaned that building out. People that have been there for a long time. And I'm not just talking about Russ and Whaley. I'm talking about all their support staff. I'm talking about marketing people. I'm talking about they went through that place. They did that already. That's been done. Burning it down is hitting rock bottom. You know? That's hitting rock bottom. No, I didn't see it, dude. I gotta check it out. I didn't get the link. I have to try to find it. Well, rock bottom is today, dude. We saw 0 points. Is there any more rock bottom than that? They get 0 points and you get an L. That's pretty bottom. But they need to try to still show a pulse. Some of the players, I'm not mad at the process. I'm not mad at any of that stuff because I know people want to target that and they use that as a sounding board. Well, I'm mad at Bean. I'm mad at this guy. And I try to sympathize with what they're doing and understand with what they're doing because they had to do this and that to get the quarterback and all this stuff. But they did it. They stuck to their guns and they did it. So I respect that. I respect that, okay? They didn't half-ass it. He's making $9 million. Okay, Clay counts $9 million against the cap, Chris. They didn't half-ass it. They did it. Irregardless, 9-7 playoffs. You know what? We're getting rid of Tyrod. We're doing this. We're doing that, and we're going to go up and get the quarterback. And we don't care what we have to trade. They traded it, but they thinking are probably having some foresight that they were not going to be as good this year. Maybe they kept their 1st-round pick. And like I said, week 1, I am so fucking glad. So glad they have their 1st-round pick and all their other picks from this year. All of them. Every last one of them. Right now, maybe they can add a few more, which I would be happy about. That would make me happy. And we got to remember, through this short rebuild, because it is a short rebuild, this is a rebuild without a tank. They didn't do a Browns. They didn't do a Sabres. They didn't, throw the baby out with the bathwater, tell everybody they were going to rebuild, and then everybody gets pissed that they're suck and rebuild because Browns fans were pissed. They told you they were going to suck. They told you they were giving everybody away. They were going to not pay guys. They were going to save room on the cap. They were going to cut people. And you're still mad? But everybody wants to celebrate when they're able to draft Baker Mayfield. You can't have it both ways. Oh, how is John Dorsey a genius for drafting a player that Sashi Brown, put him in a position to get. Are you kidding me? We could have made that pick. Yeah, exactly. What type of offensive lineman? I think you can get us a good one, Los. Probably get us 2 good ones. That's what I mean. You've got guys that are getting paid that aren't producing, and then there's $55 million on the shelf that they can't use. The dude is 6'5" and plays like he's 5'5". I just don't get it. Like, he plays like a disinterested guy. Like, he's like, you could just picture him retiring after this year. Like, he's done with football. Again, this is not Ralph Wilson's Bills. They'll pay people, but they're going to pay the right people. We're not going to see them go out and try to get a Terrell Owens. They're not going to bring in Des Bryant's. They're not going to bring in certain types of guys. They're just not going to do it. So we can just, they're not going to go out and try to get Josh Gordon, who's 1 strike away from a lifetime ban. Stevie could. I don't doubt it. Stevie could definitely play better football. I am not going to defend 1 wide receiver on this roster right now. I'm not going to defend any of the offensive linemen. The scheme was shit. I don't know how many free runners you can let go on the quarterback. And maybe some of those are on him being a rookie, not identifying the blitz. But you know what? In this league, when in doubt, blitz the fuck out of a rookie quarterback. The Raiders did it to Baker Mayfield today, and he suffered for it. You know, they scored points, but a lot of those points were off long touchdowns by Chubb. He had 1 long pass to Callaway, which was a nice one. Shit, Antonio Callaway he's a knucklehead, but he's more talented than any receiver the Bills have. Yeah, and he's doing nothing for Dallas right now. He's doing nothing. Yeah, dude, bring up Cam Phillips, Eric. Bring him up. Bring him up. Sign Stevie Johnson. Sign Perriman. You can cut them all tomorrow. I won't shed a tear. It just I look at these guys and I see no pulse. Like they look like the cornerbacks are like flypaper on them. They get no separation. There's just nothing. You know? There's just nothing. And they didn't run the ball well enough. I thought that the key. Yeah, he's not a process guy. Yeah, he's definitely not a process guy. But eventually, when you're winning and you're better, you got to sign some guys that are talented, and you're just going to have to. You're eventually going to have to take chances with guys with talent, dude. You're going to have to take chances with guys with talent. I mean, and Trent Murphy missed a failed test, got suspended for 4 games. So I think they're just going to pick and choose. I think they're willing to sign guys with warts. I think he said that too. McDermott said we're willing to sign guys with some warts, but it depends on what they are. Something to that effect. You know, but it's just he's gotta be pissed about this. He can't be happy with this showing today. We saw him in practice. There was a clip, I think it was John Scott put out. He was pissed at the shit going on in the offensive drills, and they come out and they score 0 points. He's got to be fucking livid. Livid. Dude, he's not winning shit right now. 50-50 balls. He could have 70-30 and he's not winning them. Like, literally, that's how inept the guy is. The guy is completely inept. He just doesn't look like he cares out there. And I don't know what else to say about him. We wasted so much breath talking about a guy who just does not look like he gives a shit. There was no, okay, Corey, when you only have so much money because you have little resources, they had what, $20 million in cap. They tried to sign guys that signed other places. What are you going to do? You have to have there's the Robert Fosters. I'm talking about the guys that they are paying. I can't get mad at what they supposedly didn't do. I'm mad at the guys that they are paying. They're paying, okay? They're paying Charles Clay $9 million. They're paying Benjamin like $7 million, and they do nothing. Nothing. Clay had 4 catches for 40 yards. Do you guys remember it? I don't. I think I remember 1 pass, and he looked so slow. He looks so slow anymore. Like, all their offensive players on the perimeter look so slow. They really need to get some guys who can run. They've had 2 drafts, man. Sorry. There's a lot of guys that have had 5 and 6. If you want to judge them at 5, if they get to 4 to 5, 6 drafts deep and there's still issues, okay. They've had those free agency classes too. We can go there. But right now, I'm not going to go there with them just yet. I'm not going to do that because goal number 1 was about them trying to establish what they were going to establish with what they did in the building, cleaning it out, starting fresh and new, burning it down. Like I said in that video a while back, getting the quarterback was huge. They got that. They did that. This is their guy. He's playing now. He's 3.5 weeks in. 3.5 weeks in. So it's fucking early as hell, man. It's early as hell. I mean, I think a lot of times we forget how infantile it is for them because for us, this is a life. This is a life. Bills fans is a life. Being a Bills fan, it's our life. That's what we know. That's what we live for, live by are these Sundays. And when we get this on these Sundays, it's like a knife to the fucking soul, man, and a twist. It hurts. But hopefully it's worth it in the end because today was a shit day. And it pains me to see those guys put out such piss poor effort and get paid so much. And I'm talking about guys like Clay and Benjamin. I'm not talking about the guys they didn't draft or the guys that didn't want to sign with the Bills or guys from 9-5, Stevie John. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the guys on the roster now that make it on the 46-man game day that just play like ass, like John Miller, ass. Dukas occasionally, he's very inconsistent. Sometimes he's okay and sometimes eh. Too many free runners at the quarterback today. Carly, you could cut him tomorrow. Anything. I don't know what they could do, but they have to do something this week to try to like spice something up. Something. Whether it's benching guys, cutting a couple of guys and bringing some guys in off the street, promoting a guy from the practice squad, whatever. Because what's being put forth out there right now is not cutting it. And going back to the well with the same guys and getting the same results, or it couldn't be any less, is foolhardy. And it serves no one. So, all right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. It's been an hour and 13 minutes. It's been shitty. I've been shitty today. Yeah, $20 million wasted, Los. Just terrible. $20 million in the toilet. A third-round pick. It just, you think you can get a guy who's you try to be motivated to get himself paid at this rate. Who's going to pay Kelvin Benjamin anything? Really, who's going to pay him anything? So I'll see you guys later in the week. You guys should see me on Instagram. I'll be on Instagram and shit and Snapchat and whatnot, Twitter, running my mouth. But thanks for coming in. It was a shitty game. You guys are just as down as I am after a game like that where you have nothing. Like the rookie quarterback had no support. Granted, he made his mistakes and did some rookie-like things that were not good. But at least he has to face the music at the end of the game and stand up there and say, you know what? Quarterback, it's on me. I'm the quarterback. We only go as far as the quarterback. And I give him that because I remember guys in the past in Buffalo that did not want to do that. So, all right, guys, you have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for coming in, all you guys. You guys know who you are. Always in here. You, Corey, especially. You're in here. Eric, Los, Butz is in here tonight. I had Chris in here tonight. tons and tons of the same guys. Francisco was in here. A lot of you guys, you come in and you fill the room, you keep it going, which is really, really cool. And I appreciate it, man. Really do. It means a lot to me. Still been kind of down, but you guys pick me up and spice it up, start Peter. Okay, that made me laugh. So on that note, since you made me laugh, I can't really say BISP 25. I'm gonna be out of here. Have a great try to have a good rest of the night, guys, and take care. Go Bills. Hopefully we'll have a better week. Hopefully. Thanks, man.